My ancestor James was born in 1743. His son Burrell had a son James, who was valued at $1,000 in 1861. That James had a daughter Pearl, who lived and died in Galveston, Texas, where Juneteenth started. Her daughter, my grandmother Moselle, mother of my dad Castle, attended Prairie View A&M University, an HBCU in Texas on land that formerly functioned as the Alta Vista Plantation. Moselle studied music and education. Years later, I became department head of music and theater at this same university. On my first campus visit to the burial grounds for people who survived slavery, I realized I was the future that my ancestors lived for, and the land where I was standing was a witness to all that journey had been. What a radical afterlife for a plantation. Also, I was professor at PV when Sandra Bland died in police custody after being arrested while leaving a job interview at the same university. A reminder of the very real consequences of failing to disrupt and overhaul the perpetual recycling of plantation sociocultural dynamics, from plantations that are now prisons or wedding destinations to an industry of heritage tourism that perpetuates erasure by enacting romantic, false, one-dimensional narratives of white antebellum glory. What is an appropriate afterlife for a plantation? This question drives my project, Plantation Remix, to performatively transform spaces from historical artifacts and sites of living histories to sites for living futures. My name is Cristal Chanelle Truscott. I write acapella musicals called neo-spirituals that span and straddle time between histories and the present to explore identities, inheritances, and cultural moments to encourage connection, consciousness, and healing. I'm a playwright, director, ensemble artist, and cultural worker. As a scholar, I use performance as an object of analysis and as a research method. I create neo-spirituals using soul work, a generative method for both performance and cultural analysis I developed from my research rooted in generations-old African-American performance traditions. Time travel is my thing, not time machine travel, but Sankofa time travel, the West African principle of bringing knowledge back from the past to benefit the future. As a Texas-born and raised Black American artist with deep Southern roots, I've never known a version of making art not grounded in community. I grew up steeped in practices of intergenerational and transgenerational future-building creative work. Plantation Remix aims to rehabilitate aspects of heritage tourism by exploring and rehearsing a collective future-building afterlife for sites related to slavery. This piece is not a reenactment of the past. Like Sankofa and like a hip-hop remix, Plantation Remix is informed by what came before to make something new. Plantation Remix is my first site-responsive piece, and it's my first piece where time travel doesn't end with the present, but with the future. Plantation Remix is aligned with memorialization and racial justice work at sites like the Whitney Plantation, Montpelier Plantation, Sylvester Manor, and the Consortium of Universities Studying Slavery. Frequently absent in this essential work, however, is the critical step of collectively envisioning and rehearsing for the future. Plantation Remix aims to contribute by offering just that, an opportunity to explore social transformation through performance, with a central tenet that no American experience or dynamic across a multicultural range of identities, Native, Black, white, POC, immigrant, international tourist, is left uninformed by systemic and sociocultural descendants of slavery and plantation systems in the United States. With generous funding, I've researched and written and scored 50% of the play, which will be the same at every site. The remaining 50% is designed to be built and performed in collaboration with local communities, so every site will have its own unique version of Plantation Remix that the community can perform even after the residency. There are 3 phases. Phase 1, my ensemble Progress Theater will host a series of collaboratives at each site to partner with communities in devising the remaining 50% of their Plantation Remix, and to form a local community ensemble to perform with us. In Phase 2, music and text generated from community collaboratives will be integrated into the performance. We'll rehearse as a blended community plus Progress Theater ensemble. Phase 3 is the piece. Plantation Remix, an acapella performative site tour led by a multicultural cast of characters and set in our immediate future. I need a producer or producing collaborator to bring knowledge, shared values, and passion for community to every stage of this process. Venues, historical sites, museums, theaters interested in partnering and presenting each phase of this work. And documentation, a filmmaker to creatively capture the story of making this project and of my soul work methodology in action. Thank you. Here's to peace, here's to progress, and here's to the remix.